him, and I haven't spoke to this man for a while. I used to speak to him nearly every week. What's going on with him? Chris Cowlin, host of the Spurs Chat podcast. Chris, it's been ages, mate. How are you?
I'm very well, Addy. Yeah, lovely to be on. Nice to see you, and nice to see Rory as well. And, you know, Tottenham have won a trophy, so I should have been on here every week.
Absolutely.
You certainly should have been. What's the feeling been like since that moment, Chris? Because, again, we spoke, I mean, we've been speaking for the best part of 4 or 5 years, and you've always said that's the thing you've been chasing for. That's what you wanted.
Yeah.
Now that you've got it, the trophy's in the cabinet, what's the feelings?
It's been incredible. I'll tell you what, it's been the best 10, 14 days of my life, seeing Heung-min Son and co lift that trophy, you know, seeing Ange Postecoglou deliver that trophy. He always said, I'm winning my second season. He shut up a lot of the media, he shut up a lot of the fans, and some of the fans have even held their hands up and said, okay, I got it wrong. We want to see Ange Postecoglou for the third season. You know, it's been a really, really difficult season, but to finish the season in the way we did in Bilbao and lift that Europa League trophy was just sensational. You know, it was one of the best days of my life. You know, the Spurs fans were just elated of seeing Son and co lift that trophy. You know, the trophy parade on that Friday as well after the game was just unbelievable. And we just want more of it. You know, now we've tasted that success that, you know, our first trophy in 17 years, our first European trophy in 41 years. Now we've got that. We just want to kick on and we want to win more. And I tell you what, I just want to feel like this every single year. I just want to, I want these trophies to keep coming and coming.
Yeah, and with that in mind, Chris, trying to accrue more silverware, trying to build on this incredible win, and you mentioned certain parts of the media having to apologise to Ange Postecoglou.
You?
I'm most certainly, absolutely. I didn't think it was possible. He walked the walk and talked the talk, didn't he? He said he was going to win a trophy. I laughed, I mocked him. I didn't think it was possible. And fair play to him, he shut me up. So no, fair play.
The thing is, though, Rory, he came in, Spurs were 8th in the Premier League. We didn't have any European football. I don't think that Ange Postecoglou gets enough credit for what he has done at Spurs. Yes, it's been a very, very difficult season, 22 league defeats. The manner of some of those defeats have been really, really difficult. But now he is rubbing shoulders with Bill Nicholson and Keith Birkinshaw. You know, he's one of only 3 managers who have won a European trophy at Spurs, and it means the world to us Spurs fans. I love his mic drop speech at the parade, saying about, you know, season 3 is better than season 2. And I know the question you're going to probably ask me, you know, does he deserve season 3? He absolutely does, in my opinion. You know, I did a 4-hour fan show on my YouTube channel last night, and 74% of fans want to keep Ange Postecoglou. You know, I'm not here talking for every single Spurs fan, because I know a lot of friends, family, associates that want Ange Postecoglou out the door because they don't like, you know, the football that we've played this season. But we did win the Europa League. And I think that if we have more backing for him as a manager, then we can be a much better team. You know, we've had a lot of injuries. I'm not going to sit here and whinge and cry about all of the injuries that we've had. You know, I feel like we've done that throughout the whole of the campaign. But I know that we can be a much better side. And I know that if Daniel Levy and the board back the manager, and I've spoken on here with both of you guys before about various different managers, about the board backing managers. And if they did, then we'd be in a much better place. But I love the fact that Ange Postecoglou has come out and said, you know, don't let this be the end, because, you know, we want more of it. And we certainly do as fans.
Absolutely. So, Chris, you've said there that you think that he should stay. To give you my opinion on this, I think he should as well. I don't understand how you could possibly sack a manager that has won European silverware for Tottenham. And people love to do the Manchester United comparison, bring up Eric Ten Hag maybe of winning silverware and being given the job emotionally and whatever. It's completely different. Tottenham, Manchester United perennially win silverware and it doesn't really define them. Let's see what happens with Tottenham would be my take on it. And I believe he deserves the opportunity to take Tottenham into the new season. I can't believe
what I'm hearing on talkSPORT.
No, I don't think you can sack.
No, you're right, Rory, but I'm shocked that you're saying
he's the best manager that they've had in the Premier League era.
For 2 years we've been talking about Ange, and you make him out to be a clown.
He's completely proved me wrong, though. He's completely proved me wrong by winning European silverware.
Okay, but Chris, do you think he gets
Rory,
it?
I think I'm going to be a legend in the Spurs fan base by getting Rory Jennings to admit he was wrong.
Mate, you don't have to work particularly hard on that. I mean, I'm wrong. It's not my first rodeo on this either, Chris. But no, I was wrong. I didn't think this Tottenham team were capable. My banker every season, you know, when you do your predictions at the beginning of the season, people go, "What's your banker?" Like the one thing, no jeopardy. What is your banker? I go, Tottenham won't win a trophy, and I said it again last year. So I was completely and utterly wrong. Postecoglou got it right. He did it in a way that was very pragmatic. It wasn't really a whisper of Ange ball, and he deserves the opportunity to lead the club into the new season, in my opinion, and in yours. But Chris, you and I are fairly irrelevant here. What do you predict Daniel Levy's opinion is on this?
I can't call it. I honestly cannot call it because
it's the hardest decision of his Tottenham career, Daniel Levy. It's the hardest thing.
If I'm honest, I think they probably made their mind up before the Europa League final, and I think Ange Postecoglou was going out the door. And then when we won it, and then when Daniel Levy and the board saw the thousands upon thousands of Spurs fans outside that Tottenham Hotspur stadium in the parade, everyone singing Ange Postecoglou's name, it's probably changed their mind. So I feel like it's a very, very difficult decision. But don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here saying that I accept 22 league defeats. I don't. I would love to see Ange Postecoglou, change his way in the Premier League, play a more pragmatic style like he did in the Europa League, because we did play a very, very different way in that competition. But in answer to the question of does he deserve a third season, I think he does. And I think the majority of the Spurs fan base would go along with that as well.
Do you think he's a better manager than the one that's been linked? And that one that's been linked, as you know, is Thomas Frank. Like, is Ange Postecoglou a better manager than Thomas Frank? Because as you say, it's about getting more silverware in the cabinet. Could Thomas Frank do it better than Ange? Could he possibly win you an FA Cup or a League Cup? I know he's not done it at Brentford, but let's be honest, Brentford don't have the same aspirations as the Spurs. Is Thomas Frank better?
I don't think so, Addy, to be honest. And, when we've gone through the types of managers that we have, Pochettino, Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte, we went for a different approach and different type of manager in Ange Postecoglou. But, now he has delivered us success. I feel like it's not only the majority of the fans that are with him, it's the team as well. It could be that the likes of Christian Romero leave if Ange Postecoglou does go out the door. And that is highly likely, by the way. Thomas Frank, Marco Silva is another one being named and scouted about at the moment. But, they've both done really good jobs in the Premier League, got great Premier League experience. But are they better than Ange Postecoglou? I don't think they are. And at this stage, I would give Ange Postecoglou a third season and back him in this window. And let's face it, at the football club right now, we have got so many changes going on. This morning we heard that Donna Cowlin has left the football club, and she's been on the board since 2006. We've got a new CEO coming in. We don't know whether Fabio Paratici is coming back after his ban. All these question marks about Ange Postecoglou at the moment. Ryan Mason, it looks like he's going off to West Brom. Scott Munn, we don't know whether he's staying or not. And we're hearing from the Telegraph today that, there could be a lot of personnel changes in terms of sports science and medical staff. And, of course, Ange Postecoglou has also got to get the mole out of the club as well.
Yeah, that's probably him. Probably his burner account. You're high right now, though, aren't you, Chris? My concern is, and you mentioned it 3 or 4 times, he lost 22 times last season.
It's an emotional decision to keep him. When I
hear that number, I'm like, it blows my mind. When I see Spurs 16th and 17th, and look, all the injuries, and I get it all, but 17th and 22 defeats last season. I mean, you said you did a poll, and the poll said 74% of the fan base want him to stay. If he didn't win that final, let's be honest, it'd be 100% of the fan base wanting him to go.
Possibly, but he didn't. And we won the final, and we had that parade, and everyone is on a high right now. And so no one is ruining my summer, Addy, I'll tell you that. We're all on a high. A trophy has been far too long. It really has. But there's also reports coming out at the moment that ENIC could be putting in a lot of investment this summer. And that's what, I've spoken to you two guys before a lot about investment and about ambition. And when you win a trophy, you've got to kick on from that. We just don't want this one success. We want to continue this path, go, and stay with somebody, because, even Ange Postecoglou said himself that, eventually Spurs have got to stick to something. And the amount of managers that we have gone through in recent years in the Premier League, since Pochettino has, left the club, 7 different managers in the dugout. We can't keep going round in circles like this. Eventually, you've got to stick with someone, back them. And, Ange has delivered us a trophy, and he's delivered us top 4. We've had a better season than Arsenal. And, what more do you want?
He had to get that. I agree with him, though.
Nah, he's right. In terms of transfer business, obviously, look, it won't be sorted until this Ange things get sorted, right? But what do you think you need? You mentioned Romero potentially going, so a centre-back. Bramthwaite's name's been linked. You're probably looking at another midfielder, a couple of forward players. What do you need?
Well, Champions League football next season, Addy, I tell you what, the squad, at the moment is very thin in terms of, you going to play in the Champions League. If we want to, climb that Premier League table and have a much better league position, the squad needs to be, strengthened throughout, and especially in the Champions League. You look at that PSG game the other day. These are the types of teams that you're going to be coming up against in the group stages. So Spurs have got to strengthen in all departments, in my opinion. And I know that's a very generic answer, but I think that, Spurs are never going to go out and sign world-class players and spend hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds. That's not going to happen. The recruitment in the last couple of years, the likes of Mickey van der Ven, who was an unknown, played only a handful of games for Wolfsburg, done extremely well. One of our best players. Lucas Bergvall is another. Not a lot of people knew about him. We went out. It was really, really good recruitment. So the recruitment team need to be absolutely on it right now and go out and identify really top talented players. But I feel like this window especially is about experience. We need to be bringing in experienced players. But if you want a name from me, I'd definitely go after Eze of Crystal Palace. I've been a great admirer of him since his QPR days, and he would fit into this team really, really well, in my opinion.
Do you know what I thought you were going to say there, Chris? Just because I feel like the way that he plays the game has always reminded me of Tottenham, and the way that Tottenham fans like to see the game played. We were talking earlier on this show, in fact, Jack Grealish. Is a Champions League winner. You're in the Champions League. When you used to sing about Gareth Bale being born to play for Spurs, there's a relationship there, isn't there, with Jack Grealish?
You're his agent, aren't you? Are you his agent in disguise?
I just when Chris said I've got someone in mind, I thought it was going to be Grealish, just partly because of the Champions League win and partly because of the way he plays the game and Tottenham fans.
Spurs, both of them.
Yeah, or both.
Rory, we've been linked with Jack Grealish for many, many years. 8-10 years ago, fantastic. But I would take him, actually. But there's no way that Spurs will be paying that kind of wages, which is unfortunate. And hopefully one day down the line that might change, and we might bring in a different caliber of player. But with Champions League football on the horizon for next year, we definitely need to go strong in this window, in my opinion.
Chris, as always, my man, appreciate you coming in with a smile as well. Look at him.
I've never seen it. He's a cat that got a cream, isn't he? Look at him.
Great stuff.
And Rory said sorry as well. What more can I want?
You got everything you wanted in a 15-minute show.
Didn't leave me a choice.
Top man, Chris. Appreciate you.
Chris.
Thank you, Chris Cowlin, there, host of the Spurs Chat podcast. As he said there, he said Champions League football. It just reminded me they're playing Champions League football.
Yeah, he's bang on. He's so happy, isn't he? I've never seen him like that before.
Doesn't it? Changed everything.
Yeah. And look, they do need to make those signings, and I think it's a pivotal moment for Tottenham. You know how we keep talking about Manchester United, how this moment for Manchester United is a defining moment for the team.
Yeah.
It's totally true about Tottenham as well. Like, remember the last time they won silverware, it was Juande Ramos, wasn't it? Do you remember he said more is going to follow, more trophies, I'm ready for more. 17 years later, still.
But 22 defeats though. And I mentioned it, and obviously no
so
reaction
difficult
from Chris, but 22 defeats.
Well, they're the only team to have ever survived losing 22 games.
Yeah.
But mate, they've won European silverware. They planted their flag in Europe. They beat Manchester United in a European final. It's really significant stuff from Tottenham.
Yeah, indeed. All right, we're going to talk about another team that are playing Champions League football next season. Your boys, Chelsea.